to help build intercultural friendships among international students and American students at Northwestern through the design at www.dosomethingnew.com. So first, I would like to tell you a story about Shu Zhan, who is a master's student in material science at Northwestern University. And she actually, it is her first time in the US, and she is very eager to make American friends, improve English, or know American culture. However, the life here is so different from what she expected. She is in a program which consists of 12 students, 11 are Chinese, and 1 is Indian. So, and as a graduate student, she leads a very independent life. She lives off campus, which means she has little chance to connect with American students. So she's not alone. The same problems happens to a lot of international students, especially those graduate students in engineering schools and short-time visiting students. So how can we help those students to connect with American students? After I interviewed people, I found that a relationship can be categorized, or a relationship is usually formed in these 4 stages, and often mention problems like language barriers or cultural differences only happens in the later 2 stages. However, without 2 early stages, which is to seek connections and initiate interactions, those people will never have those cultural problems. So I would love to focus my eyes on these 2 early stages. I also got very interesting insights in my interviews with some international students and American students. And some good intercultural friendship stories tell me that their good stories comes from experience something together, especially doing some activities together. For example, become ballroom dance partners or go on a road trip together. Another insight I get is that good initial intercultural communication happens through one-on-one interactions with the international students being the center of the conversation, because this actually forces these international students to step out of their comfort zone where they only speak with the person who come from the same country as they are. And also, this helps those international students not to be left alone in a group communication. So, one of my design directions is how might we help create one-on-one meet-up opportunities where international and American students can experience something together. Actually, the current international office have those kind of programs called English partner programs. However, there were very few American students volunteers because their motivations to attend those programs are very low. And I had a bunch of ideas actually brainstorming with my peers. For example, maybe we can encourage those international students to deal with American students. Or maybe we can create some cultural corners around the canteens around Northwestern, so people can go to those corners and chat with foreign friends when they eat. One of the ideas I selected to test is to matching those international students and American students based on their shared interests. So I built a prototype and asked those American students to rate their intentions to use my system. However, I failed. So why? Why people are not interested in those shared interests? Because American students said if the shared interests cannot differentiate the international students from American students, why they need to make those efforts to make friends? So one of the biggest challenges for me is to find out the true motivation that can inspire those American students to connect with international students. After I did some card sorting with American students, I found that their motivations can be categorized into these 2x2 frames. And their prioritized motivation comes from cultural learning. A lot of American students said that they really would love to connect with that international students if they can learn the food, the recipes, or the unique product, or some practices, skills, or some interesting events from that country. So based on this cultural learning idea, I did prototypes, low data prototypes, to a real working website, which is called www.dosomethingnew.com. So the idea is, as an international student, you can put your cultural learning activities into a bottle and throw it to the Lake Michigan. And as an American student or a student from another country, I can pick out the bottle. If I'm very interested in that invitation, I can accept it and send messages to the inviter, and we can have offline cultural learning experiences. So I use this website to help those international students to connect with American students, and it's easier for them to initiate communication because they are going to experience some cultural learning activities. So I will show you a video about how Shujan, the girl in my stories, used my website to connect with American students.
Wow! Yeah, I want this website to actually happen at Northwestern.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends have thought it's a really cool idea.
So I want to clarify some design considerations on my website. One is that when the international students fill their bottles, they can actually invite 1 to 4 people involved in their cultural learning activities. It's a way to reduce only one-on-one pressures. Another functions I added to my website is called locate a bottle, which means the students can locate a bottle by the nationality, the cultural types, or the category of the events. But this function can only be activated once the students throw a bottle into the lake. So I use this way to satisfy some people's unique requirements, but I also use this way to maximize the input of the invitations into the Michigan Lake. So in my research, I also learned that the currently Northwestern students know some social interactions through social media, orientations, emails, and posters. So I also create a Facebook account to promote my website. So please go to the Facebook and like us. And if you're a Northwestern student, please sign up at www.dosomethingnew.com. Let's do something new. Thank you. I would like to thank you, EDI. Thank you, professors, and special thank you to my mentor, Travis. And thank you to my lovely friends because they were my family at Northwestern. Thank you.